Get ready for a seismic shift in the music world. Liberal poptimists tried to crush rock music, but they failed spectacularly. We dive into how the industry crisis is fueling a massive rediscovery of rock's raw power. We look at how artists like The Strokes, Amy Winehouse, and the White Stripes are leading a wave of retromania, blending vintage sounds with a vital, modern edge. This is the story of rock's comeback.
Never get caught with a dead phone again. This INIU portable charger is compact, travel-friendly, and gives you fast 45-watt charging with a built-in USB-C cable, so there's no need to carry extra cords. With 10,000 mAh power, it's perfect for busy days, trips, emergencies, or anytime your battery drops too low. Grab yours on Amazon through the link in the comments before your phone hits 1%.
Next up, we explore the deep cultural undertones of this musical revival. Cultural critic Mark Fisher analyzed the melancholy behind this retro trend, pointing to a slow cancellation of the future and doomerism, questioning if this return to the past is just nostalgia or a genuine response to a broken present. We examine why artists are creating vital, churning sounds that speak directly to life in the 2020s, proving that rock is far from dead. But the story doesn't end there. We shift gears completely and look at the real-world economics of growth and development. Rock Hill is gearing up to tackle a major issue with new impact fees, potentially changing the cost of building new homes and businesses in the region. Find out what the city council is considering and how these new charges might impact local construction costs. Finally, we take a trip back 30 years to look at a monumental moment in metal history. We revisit Pantera's 1994 release, The Great Southern Trendkill, and explore how that album became a document of internal fracture and raw, emotional intensity. From More Nerve to Floods, we dissect why this album remains one of the most uncompromising and revealing works in heavy metal history. Don't miss this deep dive. A significant cultural shift is witnessing a powerful resurgence in rock music, fueled by the decline of liberal poptimism and broader liberal politics. Facing dwindling market share and critical contempt, rock music is experiencing a vital rediscovery, moving beyond mere nostalgia to produce music relevant to the 2020s. The wave of retromania has seen artists across various subgenres, including The Strokes, Amy Winehouse, Yeah Yeah Yeahs, Interpol, and the White Stripes, reveling in aesthetics and sounds from the late 1960s and 70s. This movement, while sometimes tinged with a melancholic view of a slow cancellation of the future, is currently being revitalized by contemporary artists who are creating atmospheric and vital sounds. This revival contrasts sharply with the atrophy of poptimism, a critical tendency that once dismissed rock in favor of pop and hip-hop as the political vanguard. Poptimism, which often framed rock as the music of white aesthetes or rednecks, has been undermined by market pragmatism and a broader cultural shift. As streaming dominance has altered the music landscape, and as critical discourse has evolved, the outdated metrics used to condemn rock's relevance are crumbling. Rock's fortunes are rising globally, surging in markets from the US and UK to Asia. This is not simply a mourning of the past. Contemporary rock artists are creating music that speaks directly to modern life. This resurgence is also linked to a broader political realignment, where rock has found a new, potent alternative to the failing liberal establishment. Key indicators of this shift include the renewed popularity of genres like butt rock and nu metal, and the emergence of artists like Fontaines DC and Sam Fender, who use past sounds to address current political and social challenges. The Strokes, for instance, demonstrated this momentum by rallying to the moment, with tracks from their 2020 work gaining traction despite earlier critical assessments of their fading relevance. Ultimately, the current environment, marked by a decaying critical establishment and industry challenges, is forcing a confrontation with the music of the present. The narrative is shifting from an ideological dismissal of rock to an acknowledgement of its capacity to serve as a wellspring for a new alternative. The decision facing the music industry and its audience is clear. Either tread water or champion what music in the 2020s truly can be. Rock Hill is initiating a comprehensive review of its existing impact fees, exploring the possibility of introducing a new charge specifically aimed at funding road repairs, an issue that has long been a point of public concern in the region. The Rock Hill City Council recently voted unanimously to review these fees, which are levied on new construction to offset the costs associated with urban growth. The City Planning Commission has launched a study to examine current impact fees, covering fire, water, and wastewater services. If approved, these revised fees could increase the cost of building new homes or businesses, with some of these expenses potentially being passed directly to buyers. The study will also investigate adding new fees for police services and road maintenance. City Councilman Kevin Sutton expressed cautious optimism, stating, "I don't think this is rubber stamping impact fees," but supported the staff moving forward with the plan to gather necessary information. Officials have discussed these potential changes during a budget workshop. Deputy City Manager Jimmy Bagley confirmed that the Planning Commission's study is slated for completion this summer, with a recommendation presented to the Council in August or September. This study is expected to provide crucial details regarding road funding, a topic of significant regional interest that impact fees have historically struggled to address. Rock Hill began implementing impact fees in 2003, collecting revenue from residential, commercial, and industrial properties. Current structures include varying fire fees based on property type and water and wastewater fees based on meter size. For example, a new home with a standard meter could face nearly $4,000 in combined impact fees, with commercial sites incurring significantly higher costs. Rock Hill also utilizes impact fees as an economic development tool, offering reductions or rebates for specific projects. From 2013 to 2024, the city collected $20 million in impact fees. The push for a road impact fee is distinct among regional municipalities. While neighboring communities like Fort Mill began charging fees in 2015 to fund fire, recreation, and municipal services, and Lancaster County started charging for law enforcement and medical services in 2021, none of these areas have implemented a dedicated fee for road improvements. Fort Mill's initial push for fees included road improvement as a primary driver. However, the business community voiced concerns during the 2015 debate, fearing that a road fee would deter new business. The proposed road impact fee in Fort Mill was designed to be proportional, meaning high-traffic commercial properties would bear a larger share of the cost. The high expense of road construction, potentially reaching millions per mile, makes the funding challenge substantial. Rock Hill will not know if a new road maintenance impact fee is viable until the comprehensive study is finalized. Mayor John Geddes stated that the current resolution merely initiates the process for this important review. Pipestone County Commissioners voted 3-0 to table a permit request from W.M.D. Sepaniak Inc., which seeks approval to operate a rock quarry on property owned by the Carlson family northeast of Jasper. The decision came during the April 28 meeting, following a recommendation from the Pipestone Planning Commission to approve a conditional use permit. The commissioners extended the standard 60-day period for action on conditional use permits. During the meeting, several community members voiced significant concerns regarding the potential impact of the quarry on local health, safety, property values, waterways, private wells, and a nearby pond located in a former quarry site. These concerns were echoed in previous discussions at Planning Commission and Jasper City Council meetings. Questions arose regarding procedural requirements for granting conditional use permits. Katie Walgrave referenced zoning ordinance language, requiring review and recommendation from the Jasper City Council if the property is within 2 miles of a municipality. Pipestone County Planning and Zoning Administrator Kyle Cryer interpreted this to mean that without a formal recommendation from Jasper City, the county could not approve the permit. Commissioner Dan Wildermuth advocated for a recommendation from the City of Jasper. Following the meeting, Jasper City Clerk Treasurer Renee Jennings confirmed via email that a formal recommendation would be added to the City Council's agenda for May 12. In response to environmental concerns, Minnesota Department of Natural Resources hydrologist Tom Kresko offered to request a free groundwater flow study to assess risks to wells, the pond, and springs, estimating the process could take 8 to 10 months. However, Jake Sapaniak, an owner of the Quarry company, dismissed the need for a study, stating that obtaining a study without guaranteed facts was a waste of time. Cryer defended the Planning Commission's recommendation, noting that the commission had addressed concerns by imposing conditions, including requirements for the company to maintain a half-mile buffer along 40th Avenue, manage traffic, control dust, and post a $50,000 surety. County Board Chair Luke Johnson expressed reservations about the adequacy of the existing mitigation measures and supported the idea of conducting a study to gather more information. Following a motion to commission a water study, Cryer noted that the 60-day statutory deadline for the county to approve or deny such requests was approaching, but it could be extended with proper written notice to the applicant. After consultation with the county attorney, Johnson withdrew the motion and proposed tabling the matter to allow for further consultation on the appropriate path forward. In other business, the commissioners reappointed Renee Schutch as the Pipestone County Veterans Service Officer for another 4-year term and approved the annual Relay for Life event to be held at the Pipestone County Fairgrounds on August 13 at no charge. 30 years ago today marked a significant milestone for heavy metal, as the release of Pantera's album, The Great Southern Trendkill, was revisited. Released in 1994, the album followed the monumental success of Far Beyond Driven, which had topped the Billboard 200 and cemented Pantera's status as a mainstream heavy metal force. Facing immense pressure to follow up such a triumph, the band chose not to soften their sound, but instead pushed their music into a darker, more chaotic, and emotionally damaged territory, turning the record into a document of internal fracture. The creative process for the Great Southern Trendkill reflected growing internal tensions within the group. Vocalist Phil Anselmo experienced increasing isolation from drummer Vinnie Paul, bassist Rex Brown, and guitarist Dimebag Darrell, a separation exacerbated by Anselmo's worsening heroin addiction and chronic back pain sustained during the intense touring cycle for Far Beyond Driven. This physical distance manifested in the recording process, with Anselmo tracking vocals solo in New Orleans while the rest of the band recorded in Texas, creating an uneasy and hostile atmosphere permeating the music. Musically, the album aggressively expanded Pantera's groove metal foundation into harsher, more experimental realms. The title track immediately signaled a departure from previous successes, featuring shrieking vocals and blast-like drumming. Tracks such as War Nerve, 13 Steps to Nowhere, and Suicide Note PT. I embraced nihilism, shedding the swagger for instability. However, the album balanced this aggression with texture, songs like Suicide Note PT. And Floods incorporated acoustic elements and introspective songwriting. Floods, in particular, gained legendary status for Dimebag Darrell's mournful, extended guitar solo, widely regarded as one of the greatest performances of the 1990s. Despite the internal turmoil, the Great Southern Trendkill achieved commercial success, debuting at number 4 on the Billboard 200 and earning platinum certification in the United States. While some critics found the record abrasive and inconsistent compared to earlier works, it was celebrated by others for its refusal to compromise. Commercially, hits like Drag the Waters became staples of live shows, and the album garnered Grammy nominations. However, the touring cycle underscored the instability, culminating in a near-fatal heroin overdose suffered by Anselmo in 1996, foreshadowing future challenges. Retrospectively, the Great Southern Trendkill is now viewed by many as Pantera's most fearless and emotionally raw offering. It is characterized not by brute force confidence, but by exposed paranoia, rage, addiction, and exhaustion, lending it a profound psychological weight. Occupying a unique space in the band's catalog, between the breakthrough Cowboys from Hell, the definitive vulgar display of power, and the commercial apex of Far Beyond Driven, Trendkill stands as the most uncompromising artistic statement. 30 years later, it resonates as a sound that feels dangerous, unstable, and painfully real, capturing a moment of a band tearing itself apart while forging an unforgettable masterpiece.